Hey, good morning. I'm showing 0700. We'll get started with today's operational briefing for July 20th, 2021. If you can do me a favor, please silence all electronics, turn down your radios, and keep all side conversations outside of the briefing area so everybody gets a good briefing. We'll get started with the incident situation update.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Josh Campbell, Night Ops Team 1. Okay, at 1400 yesterday, this thing stood up pretty good, ran a lot of our people out of where they were working. So today, have your heads up for that as well. It could possibly do that again. Division Alpha, Bravo. There's no Alpha. Okay, Bravo, Foxtrot, and Mike. Still pretty, oh, there's an Alpha right there. Sorry about that. It's pretty secure. Crews continue to work down there. They're making good progress, not a lot of activity, but we still have to worry about the rollout in that area, so you need to keep your heads up for that. Working into Papa, they had great success in there yesterday until it stood up on them. Right down there in the bottom down here, they had a bunch of spots across the line. They had to back out, let the fire kind of calm down, and then they got back in there and did some work. Believe this morning that all of them were wrapped. We need to get in there and validate that. Working up into Quebec. Quebec's got dozer line from drop point 100 to 101. It's solid. It's about 8 blades wide, but we still need to have heads up in there. Make sure that that dozer line holds. We got to keep that piece of dirt right there. The dozer line that goes from 100 out across the top that we're going to use as our primary line, null and void anymore. We backed off, went across Coon Boulevard, tied into Humbug Summit, and came all the way across to Division R, and then tying it back down into Sierra. Division Union and Whiskey continue to try to find ridges of opportunity out off of Highway 70 to get around the slop that got across Highway 70. They basically picked a couple ridges, but obviously we're going through the wilderness, so we can't use tractors. They're going to go put hand line in there until they get out of the wilderness, and then we'll pick back up with the dozer line. In the report.
Okay, moving on to the management objectives. Utilize the risk management process to identify and mitigate hazards to protect firefighters and the public. Emphasize strategies and tactics that have the highest probability of success and the least exposure to firefighters and the public. Develop strategies to protect life, property, communities, businesses, and infrastructure. Employ tactics that fulfill these strategies while being mindful of the necessity for contingency and emergency plans. Ensure strategies account for incident priorities, applying resources to those with the highest consequences first. Follow COVID-19, CDC, and establish local, state, and federal guidelines to limit the virus spread within the incident and the surrounding communities near the fire area. Provide timely and continuous incident information to affected agency partners, cooperators, and the public. And maintain fiscal accountability, keeping costs commensurate with the values at risk. Control objectives. Keep the fire north of Polga Bridge. Keep the fire south of Humboldt Peak. Keep the fire east of Skyway Road. And keep the fire west of Snake Lake. Fire weather.
Good morning, Julia Rutherford with Fire Weather. So the big changes with the weather today as compared to the past few days is we have drier southwest flow aloft that's pushing into the area. That's pushed the thunderstorm concern further to the east, well to the east of the area, and also is going to bring us sunnier skies and less mid-level moisture. It is going to continue to be another warm and dry day. Temperatures are remaining just a little bit above seasonal normals. Relative humidities will be dropping down into the mid-teens, 14 to 18% for those minimums. We do still have quite a bit of instability over the fire area, so that's going to be a big concern again this afternoon. We'll see that we'll see the atmosphere really becoming more unstable as we get past about 14 or 1500 with that instability increasing. So for the winds, we're looking at southwest winds in the general area. 10 to 15 miles an hour, gusting 20 to 25 in the afternoon. Those will funnel up the valley. As you get into the mid portions of the valley, about from DP1 up here, this will get really squirrely with a lot of swirling winds, battling winds through the day. There's a lot of tributaries here that'll give you a mix of wind conditions. And then as you get further north, you get more into the prevailing southwesterlies again. Also up on the plateau, prevailing southwesterlies there as well. We'll see those winds going through about 2000, diminish for a couple hours, turning around to the northeast downslope winds at night. Local gusts in the up to 20 to 25 out of those potentially. So big concern today, continued warm, continued dry, and that afternoon instability, especially after about 1400 or so. Have a safe shift.
Thank you. Fire behavior.
Good morning, Sean Norman. I'm going to give you a fire behavior forecast. A couple things I want to highlight in the message kind of overall for today is transitions. We know in the fire service, anytime we go through any type of transition, it's a situation that shouts, watch out. And I want to call your attention to several very important things about transitions today. The first is a very general transition, a really high-level look. This side, as we look to the south of the North Fork of the Feather River, we consider that the Northern Sierras. As we move north of it, we transition more into the Cascade Range. That has a huge impact on what you do, although it's just a line on a map in your mind. In reality, it's a change in topography and a change in soil and rock type. That affects your fuels. So where we tend to see more north-south drainages here, big ridges, as we get north of that, we lose those. And you're starting to see those challenges as you guys are trying to find a ridge. It just is not continuous because you tend to see more drainages that come off of a peak, and that plateau disrupts that. So that's going to be a transition for you to figure out how to deal with, and that affects the fuel type out there. So we start to get into a whole different fuel type out in here. Timber stands interspersed with big brush fields and a flat plateau that's very exposed to the wind. You lose that terrain feature to help you be successful in putting in line and backing fire off of that. The next one I want to talk about is our ERCs. We touched on this. I'm going to continue to touch on it. We're at 85%, which puts us in the 97th percentile. Less than 3% of the days over the last 30 years have met the criteria that we're dealing with right now, and that's truly record territory. So we don't have a lot of incidents to point back to and say, on this time, this is how this fire behaved. With that, understand that change in our ERCs and our fuel moistures reduces the effectiveness of your relative humidity. So when in the past, when our relative humidity got up to 65% and the fire would lay down, it may not. The flip of that is you can use that to your advantage. Plan on higher humidities, you still being successful with burning operations during that longer burn period. The next transition I want to talk about is the change in time. So from 9 to 11 in the morning, we're in a transition between a down canyon, down slope wind coming off the higher terrain, until that upslope begins. It's that period of time when the fire gets established in a drainage and topography will take over with no generalized wind holding it in check, and the fire will make rapid runs. And that's been consistent, and we've seen that every day. And there's already a big column stood up there. So that tells me that we're in a transition now. The fire's running with topography like we would expect it to, and making aggressive moves until the wind gets on it and starts shoving it back and laying it down. The last transition I want to talk about is our fuel type change. So as we get outside of some recorded fire history, especially outside of that chips fire, we're going to get into some older growth timber, big timber patches, and a different type of timber up in there. We're out of the ponderosa that you're seeing down here. We're moving into heavy fir and brush. So for today, I would expect you to have very similar conditions down in here, with rollout obviously being a challenge in that transition from the edge of the canyon down. You guys have been successful, and you should continue to be successful. Some of the highlight areas, Papa into Quebec, you're up on that plateau. The wind, while it's going to drive the fire, should be open things up for you to be very successful in putting retardant in ahead of your lines that you're going in, or reinforcing them. So understand that. As we come around, the fire really wants to keep driving across the North Fork and up out of to the east of Red Mountain and north of Red Mountain. Up in there, again, some chips fire scars, so you should be successful in trying to pick off some of the old lines they have in there. Coming around, into this section in here as we move, coming off a rich bar, you're back into a little more of a big ridge. It's going to back down into the Feather River again. And that transition time will be important because when we get off that wind, the fire's going to want to make some big moves in there on you today. Down into Union, some of this, we're getting into some of the wilderness area, and the fire's going to burn pretty hot through there based on our limited suppression activities, but we do have permission to run aircraft, so they'll be able to beat that thing down as long as they don't get smoked out. And then same thing coming down here, you have some chance of success in some of the fire scar from the North Complex, and the old lines that were put in, the wind should be at your back. So pay attention to those transitions today, and keep your head on a swivel. Today will be a tough day again.
Operational work assignments.
Good morning, Merrick Fields, operations for IMT1. The last 2 days we've got up here and told you this fire is going to stand up and make a bit of a move. We've been right. You guys have paid attention. When it started to stand up, you pulled back to the safety zones, and as soon as it laid down, we got back in there and got back to work. The same thing goes for today. At 1 o'clock, we need to be looking at where we're at in relation to that main fire because it's probably going to stand up again. We need to be in safe spots and then get back in there and get to work. That's crucial. So for today, Alpha, Bravo, Foxtrot, Mike, that's pretty much in patrol status. We still need to be aware of some rollout. We still need to be present down in there just in case because we can't lose what we've got. Coming up into Division Papa, there's a little piece in there to Papa Quebec break. That's been our Achilles heel, that last little inch. We got to get in there and get that piece tied up. At the same time, we're working on dozer line outside of that as a catcher's mitt in the event that we're not able to get that picked up. Moving up into Division Quebec, we've got some direct line in there up to DP 101, or excuse me, DP 100, and then we're going to take that dozer line, that planned dozer line. We've been working on it last night. We're going to continue to widen and improve it. Take it out to the Humbug Road, up to Humboldt Road, and start picking up some of the CHIPS fire dozer lines and bring it back around to Division Sierra. In Sierra, we're going to come off of the 70 and start working up into some of the CHIPS fire scars or dozer lines and start opening those up so that we've got a good line out in there. Coming down to Division Union, there in the Fales Basin area, we're right outside of the wilderness. We're skirting along the edge of the wilderness with dozers. There's a piece of hand line that we're going to get tied in down in there, come into the Bucks Lake, and we're out in here scouting and improving indirect dozer line, and then going to tie it back into the Grizzly forebay and all of that. And then in addition to that, we've implemented 4 structure groups. The Bucks Lake, Lake Almanor, Highway 70, and Meadow Valley structure groups. Those structure groups are going to be in there pre-planning all of those communities, coming up with the structure defense plan and being present in those communities so in the event that the fire does get into that. And then we have the west contingency and the east contingency that are really focusing on all of the old dozer lines that we've had from the previous fires in here, getting all of those opened up in the event that this does make another significant run. With that, have a safe shift. Thank you.
Thank you. Branch and division roll call.
Good morning, BJ Corey, Resource Unit Leader with Team 1. This will be the branch and division roll call. So branches and divisions, as you hear your name, please stand, face the back so everybody can see and hear you. And we'll get started with branch 1, Wallen. Here. And Petro is on a 24, not a 12. Here. Alpha Bravo, Finney. Here. Division Sierra, Berkstrand. Here. And Chung on a 12. We have a change to the railroad group. It is Swanson. Here. Lake Almanor group is to be determined. Highway 70 group to be determined. Branch 5, Engler. Here. Foxtrot, Coos. Here. Narwa on a 12. Here. Vision Mike, Darrington. Here. Papa, Clellan. Here. Branch 10, Felix. Novak trainee. Here. Quebec Hollister. Here. And Class A on a 12. Here. Vision Romeo Mancebo. Here. And Hoban on a 12. Here. Branch 20, we do have a change to Shalhoub. Here. And Todashini trainee. Here. Vision Uniform Milovich. Whiskey, Watner. Here. Michael, trainee on a 12. Here. Bucks Lake group is to be determined. Meadow Lake group, Meadow Valley to be determined. East Contingency Group, Dyer. Here. West Contingency Branch, Norman. Here. And Jerry on a 12. Here. Road Group is Gee on a 12. Here. And we have Silver Dollar Staging, Riley. Here. Thank you, everybody, and have a safe shift.
Air Operations.
Good morning. Matt Hill, Air Operations, CAL FIRE Team 1. So for today, rotary wing will have 15 Type 1 water droppers, 4 Type 2s, 3 Type 3s, and then for fixed wing, we'll have Air Attack and the ASM up early, along with 4 tankers. For night operations, we will have a UAS available, and we can utilize that for IR. For 24-hour ALS hoist, we have Guard 822. Please monitor air-to-ground command for divisions and above, and air-to-ground TAC for everyone else. Make it a safe shift.
Communications.
Tom Webb, Communications Unit Leader. I know the comms are bad out there. We're working on it. We're doing our best we can. We've got additional equipment coming in. For today, we did get the Colby Mountain Lookout repeater up. Should help up in that branch 10 area. Part of these mitigations that we're doing to help with that, we've also got the Plumas admin net that we can use in branch 20. Today is a clone day, so if you have to come and see us and get cloned, we have special frequencies on there. We're going to 2 groups to be able to help facilitate some span of control and to be able to get you all the frequencies you need in your radio to be able to work today. So come and see us in the comm unit over in the cloning line. We got lots of guys over there to help. If you're in an area, you have an IWI and something isn't working, you can't get out you want you to try the NIFC commands first, go to some of the Plumas frequencies second. If not, then roll back to Butte local tones 9 or 13 for IWIs for any kind of a line emergency that you have if you can't get out on them communicate. We are monitoring all those in the command, our commands trailer, as well as Orville ECC is doing that. Second thing, on the NIFC commands, if you're using your mobile radio with a state load in it, you have to select tone 2 on those. For the tacticals and the command frequencies, you have to go in and select user selected tone 2 to be able to access those frequencies so that everyone else can hear you. If you have any questions, come see us in the comm van. Thank you.
Medical.
Good morning, Josh Daly Medical. Please turn your IAP to page 31. For the line resources, we still have line medics through branch 5 all the way around through branch 20, and they will meet with your division breakouts. The 4x4 ambulances will be at drop point 100 and drop point 2 up that 70 corridor as far as we can get them in to provide care. For the REMS 2 will be dedicated to branch 10, so they're a regional asset in that branch. The other REMS, which is REMS 3, will be up branch 1, and they'll try to get up the 70 corridor into Union and Whiskey and help out in branch 20. We still have 205 for BLS day hoist. It was mentioned we have 822 for 24-hour ALS hoist. In camp, we have CalMat and MERT. They can do COVID testing, any treatment. But just like at the firehouse, if you're going to go get treatment, please let your supervisor know. Do not just show up and get whatever treatment you want. Your supervisor has to be aware of what you're doing. At the bottom, it was mentioned by comms, if we do have a line emergency or emergency traffic, you need to follow that Dutch Creek protocol and give us that pertinent information so we can get you treatment and transport, because we're starting to get extended times with as far out as we're working. Please have a safe shift.
Safety.
Good morning, Jesse Winnan, IMT1 Safety. We will have safeties on each branch. As you guys heard from fire weather, fire behavior, operations, the saying is the last couple days it stood up. Have your situation awareness. Make sure you know your escape routes. Make sure you know your safety zones. Make sure the safety zones are big enough to support all the crews that will be going in there, and know when to disengage and engage with this. We've also heard about the communications. Make sure we have the best communications possible. Use human repeaters. Have your lookouts. Be able to use your other frequencies if we have the IWI. Make sure those are known. As medical said on box 6 is your IWI procedures. Please go over in your breakouts. We need to make sure we have those and we know them. COVID is still around. Make sure we are watching ourselves, watching our crews. If somebody's not feeling well, let the supervisor know. Make sure we're washing our hands, covering our coughs. We all know there's other illnesses out there, but we want to play it safe. If you have, if your agency has a specific directive when it comes to mask wearing or anything like that, please abide by your agency. Please, everybody, have a safe day. One last thing, rolling material. We have had rock slides. Make sure you're driving safe and watch out for that rolling material on the line and also on the roads. Thank you.
Logistics.
Good morning, Jesse Morris Logistics. If you could please turn to page 34 in your IEP. This is our service and support schedule for Round Camp. On page 36 is the CAL FIRE 101 form. This form is for items that you may have left on the line or have gotten damaged. You'll need a division group signature in order to get these out of supply. Also, if you plan on doing any firing and you want to get those devices back, you also need a branch signature, an operational signature before you get those devices out of supply as well. On page 37 is our vehicle repair checklist. This information is needed prior to you calling into communications if you have any mechanical issues. Have a good day. Thank you.
Information.
Good morning, Emily Smith, Public Information, Incident Management Team 1. If you'd like to join me on page 39, I have an update of acreage and containment for you. The current acreage is 59,984 acres at 15% containment, and we have 2,409 personnel assigned. Please note at the top of the page, the public information line, it has changed since yesterday. And we thank you to all of you for adhering to the federal and CAL FIRE social media policies. And please continue to send those photos and videos that you may have to the PIO shop so we can vet those before posting. We also have received quite a few lost items, so if you're looking for something, please come by the PIO trailer and we'll try and get it back to you. Thank you and have a great day.
Liaison Officer.
Good morning, Brandon Gunn, Liaison Officer, Incident Management Team 1. Any cooperating or assisting agencies, please come see us back in the Liaison shop. It's located just behind the briefing area in the trailer marked Liaison. We also have a cooperatives meeting here every day at 10 o'clock. Thank you.
Law Enforcement Liaison.
Good morning, Chris Parent, Law Enforcement Liaison Officer, Incident Management Team 1. Today we've got evacuation orders for Butte County in the Jonesville, Philbrook areas, warning in Butte Meadows, Inskip and Concow areas. For Plymouth County, evacuation orders in place for Rock Creek, Story, Tobin, Belden, all the way up to Twain, down to Meadow Valley, and into the Bucks Lake area. If you're working in the Meadow Valley area, just a heads up, we've got trucks moving cattle in and out of that location. For our closures, we've got closure State Route 70 at Jarbo Gap, all the way up to State Route 70 and 89, that's gonna be the Greenville Y. We've got a closure at Bucks Lake and Riverdance, as well as the Oro Quincy Highway and Plains Road. If you guys are having any issues in these evacuation areas, whether it be vehicles, we've got people that are staying in the area, send it up the chain so that we can mitigate the issue. End of report. Thank you.
Thank you. One quick announcement, if you're here as a trainee and you want to get credit, we do have our training specialist set up in the check-in area. Make sure that you get there, get signed up, and get credit for this assignment. Agency Administrator.
Good morning, everybody. Russell Nickerson, your agency administrator, and this is my piece of ground that I'm the district ranger on as well for the Liaison. Truly appreciate all of you being here and the fight you guys are putting together and the efforts you guys are all putting in as a cooperative group here. Really some things that stood out to me was your guys' situational awareness. A lot of changes with weather, rolling fallout and rollout from the fire. And so I just really want you guys to be aware of all those things. And I know you guys already are, but just re-emphasizing that your guys' safety is really key to me and the forest. And so we just appreciate the fight you guys are doing and keep it up. Thank you.
And final comments from the Unified Incident Commander.
Good morning. Hey,
Good morning, Shannon Prather, one of the Unified Incident Commanders here with CAL FIRE Team 1. First, I do want to start off by saying thank you for all being here, to showing up for the job and mission that we have at hand. As you can see, this camp is growing as it needs to. We need to right-size this fire. Yesterday, we saw some pretty unpredicted fire behavior, and it used to be that that's something you might see once in your career. Well, last few years, it seems to be that that's the norm. And my message today is to pace yourselves and to watch out for each other. And it's going to be a long season, and when you get off this fire, spend some time with your family, reconnect, because it's going to be another one coming up pretty shortly, I'm sure. With this fire, the growth to the north, we are expecting to implement a camp up north that's going to still be working its way through the system. But be flexible as things start to change, and be ready for whatever the fire dictates that we need to do, and be safe out there. Come home at the end of the assignment today, safe with all your resources, and that's all I got to say. Thank you. Have a good, safe trip.
Thank you. Okay, if you're not in the IAP, I need you to go see unassigned resources back where you picked up your IAPs. Go see BJ. Wait, don't start moving yet. All right, breakouts. To my left, to your right, starting with Alpha Bravo, Sierra, the Railroad Group, Lake, Highway 70, Division Foxtrot, and Division Mike. To my right, your left, Division Papa, Romeo, Union, Whiskey, Bucks Lake, and the road groups. Have a great shift. Turn on your phones and be safe.